Hey everyone, a Complex back with another video, and today we're back to SWTOR, and let's talk about the Feast of Prosperity. It is a brand new event that has hit SWTOR, and it will last approximately for 3 weeks, disappear, and come back next year. That's right, it is a new yearly event, very similar to Life Day, as well as like the Narshadon nightlife event. So today I want to walk you through everything that you're going to need to know, so then that way you can get the most out of your time in the Feast of Prosperity. So let's just dive on into it. Now, to kick off this event, you're going to want to open up your map once you get to the fleet. Either side will do, and you will see that there is going to be a marker for a festival crier, and you're just going to want to head over to them and have a conversation with them. Once you complete that conversation with them, they will direct you over to Narshadon, and that is where we will begin the Feast of Prosperity. Once you make your way to Narshadon and head to the upper promenade of that main area you've probably been to a million times, you'll notice on your map marker that there is an area that, well, is just full of people, and there's huts and there's food and all of that good stuff. So you just want to head over there, and then you're going to want to talk to the two huts. There is the first one that you'll talk to, and then directly across from them is a second one. That'll kind of kick off the story and kind of give you some backstory on what the Feast of Prosperity actually is. And once you're done talking to the huts, you'll want to head back out to the front of the main area where you can kind of see both huts. You'll now notice that 3 different terminals have a repeatable symbol above them. 2 of them are to pick up quests, and then the other one, the farthest on the right-hand side, is actually the one where you'll get all of the weekly quests for the different quests that are available for the hut event. Now, the one all the way on the left is a repeatable mission that you'll be able to do once a day, and it's called Prep Work, and it'll take you to a variety of planets, and depending on the day will depend on the planet, and it'll ask you to do something. Now, you'll notice next to that terminal, once you pick up that quest, a repeatable mission symbol pops up over somebody's head, and that person just has the world boss mission. So if that's something that you'd like to do, you can pick it up with them. Then the middle terminal is going to have the work request board, which will have 2 different events. Now, each event comes in a easier and harder version. So for instance, the Cantina Rush event has the easy mode, and then there is the hard mode. We'll go over them in detail in just a minute. And then the cooking event has the easier version, and then the challenge dish, which is timed. So you can go ahead and pick them up. You can only pick up one of each type of event at a time. So for instance, you can only have the Cantina Rush Easy or the Cantina Rush Hard on you. You can't have both of those just because of how you enter into the event itself. Once you pick up whatever you'd like from that terminal, you can head over and also look at the weekly missions. I would suggest picking this up as quickly as possible, the weekly missions themselves. As the weekly missions you have to do 3 of the dailies in order to complete. And with the way this event works, you can only do each of the middle terminal kind of like events once a day. So you're actually not going to be able to complete these weekly events in one day. You will have to come back and do it again. So that is also something to bear in mind. If you have a bunch of different characters, you might want to plan it out strategically if you want to make sure you're getting the most for your conquest for doing each of the weeklies. Now, the other thing to note is that there are 2 different doors in order to start each of the events. So the door in between the 2 huts will start the Cantina Rush event for the like serving with the mini droid that you might have seen. And then if you kind of go over to the right, there'll be a second door, and that one will start the cooking event. And the cooking event is, well, the first one we're going to go over later. Now, one tip that I have for you to start this event is to dismiss your companion when you're doing the cooking, as it can kind of get in the way because it is a little bit more of a tight space. Now, over on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see that in your quest log, it'll tell you what to do exactly for each of the steps in order to complete this. Now, I would definitely suggest starting off with the very easy version first, kind of getting used to it. Basically, you're going to be collecting ingredients and then tossing them at either the grill or the stovetop, which super immersive. I know I do when I'm cooking. In fact, chuck like yams and everything like that at the stove. Totally works. But you'll just kind of follow the set of instructions that they have for you, and once it's all done, you'll present it to the droid who is the chef, and they'll either pass or fail you, and if you pass, you get the reward. And it does kind of almost abruptly kind of kick you out of the event, so don't be alarmed if you finish it and everything looks like you did it correctly, and then everything just kind of not freezes, but like it looks like you're being moved to a different area, because you're just going to be put back out of the room. Now, one important thing to note is that everything for this event doesn't move. So, for instance, wherever you find the fruit or a different braised meat or the vinegar or the juice or whatever it is, it always is going to be in the same place. And for the timed portion of the event, it is super important to kind of know where everything is, which is why I would heavily suggest starting off with the easy one, taking your time and learning the placement of everything, because once you head on into the harder version of the event, it will time you. So it'll say, all right, pick up this fruit and then put it on the grill or put it on the stove. And you only have so many seconds to do that. And then it tells you what the next thing to do is. So that is something to bear in mind as you're going through. Make sure you kind of know where everything is. You can pick it up nice and quick. And if for whatever reason you can't chuck your food into the grill, try standing a little ways away back. I actually failed the hard challenge a few times just because I couldn't get the food to register in the grill. You actually do have to stand decently far back. So the center of kind of like where you would throw it to show you where it will actually go is in the grill. And then that should help you with that. So if you do find yourself stuck on that, take a few steps back and then try throwing the food again. Now, the next challenge is the Cantina challenge. If you look at your back wall, you'll notice that it has two different kind of boards in the back. One is to tell you how many more dishes you need to deliver in order to complete the event. And then the one on the right side will tell you how many more tries you have before you fail out of it. The way that you will fail is if you fail to deliver a meal to one of the tables. Now, as you can see, basically you're just going to pick up a dish and then drop it off to a table that's requesting it. You just click on the dish to pick it up and then use your hotbar at the bottom. As you can see, it actually has replaced your abilities with the different dishes. And then you're just going to walk up to the table, hit one of the buttons, or just directly click on it in your hotbar in order to deliver it. Now, a few different tips for this event. I have noticed that if I try to deliver a meal, I'm kind of either behind somebody's chair or like a little too close to being next to somebody, it kind of wigs out a bit and won't actually drop off the food. So I find if you go to the side of the table without the chairs on it, it will actually deliver a lot easier and a lot quicker. Now, you do have a timer per request, basically. The circle itself has 4 squares in it, and the squares will count down until the squares are all gone, and then it'll blink red for a few seconds, and then the dish itself will disappear. The table is not requesting food anymore, and you failed out of it. You can carry up to 4 dishes at any given time, but the more dishes that you're carrying, the slower you're gonna go. So you might need to be a little strategic about what dishes you're picking up when and how you're delivering and stuff like that. And that's something that you're just basically going to figure out doing it again and again, and you'll find your own method to it. I actually am enjoying this event the most, but I was a huge like Cake Mania kind of fan back in the day. So if you liked those games, you are definitely going to like this mini event. Now, the difference between the two modes is basically the easier mode, you just have 1 round, you have to deliver 25 dishes, and then you're good, you're done. The harder mode has 4 different rounds that you have to do. You start with delivering 25 dishes, and then you keep delivering a few less per round until you're done with the 4 rounds. Now, the other thing to note is that the timer does reset, or not the timer rather, but the countdown for how many dishes you can fail out of does reset on the harder mode per challenge, but it will take away 1 from the total that you can fail out of. So for instance, if it starts with 5, you miss 1 dish, it then left me with 4 for the next challenge. So that is just something to bear in mind and keep an eye on. Otherwise, though, this is, like I said, a lot of fun. Once you're done with this mode, then it will kind of just pop you out a little abruptly, like I had mentioned, for the other one, and you'll get your reward and be able to cash in those tokens. Now, the last event that you can do that we should talk about is the world one, where it'll send you to one of several different worlds, and it'll ask you to collect something within that and then just bring it back and deliver it to a drop-off terminal at the main area for the Feast of Prosperity. It's super easy to do. For instance, as of recording this, today's was Belsavis. It sent me to go pick up a few different fruits, and then that was it. I delivered them, mission done, and I got myself some tokens along the way. The hardest part of this was literally just the traveling through Belsavis. The other nice thing is if you're somebody that's trying to grind out either leveling or a lot of different conquest or anything like that, you can combine doing this with doing like heroics or anything else on the planet that you might have to do. So you could definitely min-max your time while doing this. Now let's talk about the rewards for this event. Good news, there is no faction rep grinding to do for this event. It is simply just tokens. You can see how many you have by going to your inventory and then your currency tab. And the good news is these tokens are legacy bound, just like the Swoop Racing event. So then that way you can grind this out on multiple different characters and be able to get yourself some really big rewards by doing it. Now, a couple things to note is that the rewards are actually pretty sweet. I, for one, am a huge fan of them this round. There's a lot, and I mean a lot of decos. So if you're somebody that enjoys decorating your stronghold and stuff like that, this event is definitely going to be for you. There is a new armor that you can get. There are 2 different adorable pets. There is a mount, and then there are also a few different titles that you can get, and then a few different like tacticals and stuff like that. There also are some emotes and a few different of the change your appearance disguise terminals. So a lot of cool things that you can get from it. Now, a few things to note. Like all decos, once you claim it on one character, it is just kind of claimed for your legacy, so you can use it with any character to decorate. But things like the pet, the mount, the title, the armor, those are all bind on pickup, so you can't share them with another character. So if, for instance, you want to give a particular pet or the armor to a specific character, you do want them to go in and pick up the item themselves, so then that way they can have it on them. Now, last thing to note is that there's actually a storyline that goes with this event. Now, the storyline is going to be released weekly for the 3 weeks with a final conclusion on the 3rd week. And after you go ahead and talk to the 2 Hutts for the initial start of the event, you can go ahead and talk to one of the Hutts and it will kick off the first of the storylines. And then next week we'll get another, and then the 3rd week, the conclusion. And there was a SWTOR news article about that, and I will link it in the description down below so that way you can read a little bit more about the quest line, which actually sounds pretty interesting. So that is something that'll be available to you if you decide to do it, or you can go ahead and just grind out the tokens for this event and get yourself the rewards if that's what you want to do. The quest line is, of course, optional. But y'all, that's going to be it from me today. That is the Feast of Prosperity event in a nutshell. I hope that you're enjoying it. I, for one, am going to get back in and keep grinding it out because I need all of the decos for my stronghold. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your night and or day, depending on where you are in the world. And I will catch you next time. Bye, guys.